Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. If you've managed to find your way here, that means that you have found this either in the playlist or via a direct link because this is an unlisted video on YouTube. This is some leftover footage I had from the very end of set 5.5. I had to play 5 ranked games in order to get a ranked placement. So this is a ranked game played on the last day, and I just needed to play through 5 games because I knew that I was already locked into gold rating from the first half of set 5, the original set 5, not set 5.5. And I had played 0 ranked games throughout all of set 5.5, and this is one of the 5 games I played. I had this footage, and I really liked this game, but I didn't really have anywhere to put it because like I said, I played this game the last day of the set, and like, who really wanted to see more footage of set 5.5 when set 6 is out and it's new and exciting and people want to see that? So I put up set 6 content, but I just had this leftover footage from one of the ranked games. And as I said, I really liked this game. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to give this a formal number. I'm just going to put it up here. I'll leave it as an unlisted video, and I'm sure that there's probably going to be like no one's going to find their way here. I might put it up for, I might post the link for some people in like our local Sula Discord, but just there'll be a small number of people who find their way here. And for those of you, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's not like the other Teamfight Tactics videos are getting a ton of views anyway. I think I'm getting like 200 views at most on them. So anyway, with that out of the way, I was planning on playing my Dawnbringer's Karma, which is kind of the one comp I know how to play in set 5. But the other comp I had played a little bit more at the end of set 5, not set 5.5, was a Rangers comp based on using Varus, so like kind of redeemed plus Rangers, and then transitioning into either Aphelios or here in set 5.5 into Action if you manage to hit him at the end of the game. So based on what I got, I had received 0 Dawnbringer units the entire game, and I was like, okay, based on what I'm seeing here, this is not a Dawnbringer's game. Like, I have 0 Dawnbringer units. I don't really have much in the way of items that would be good in a Dawnbringer's. I mean, I guess I have a Tear and a Rod, so those could build into Karma, but like I really don't have most of what I'm looking for here. So let's go ahead. We'll play the Varus. I've got the Rod, which can be half of a Rage Blade. I've got the Chain Vest, which can go on Leona. And this is a pretty solid start here. We've got the 3 redeemed. We've got the 2 Rangers. Out of the 4 units that you'd opt to play, this is pretty much exactly what you'd be opting to play. Now I just need to look to try to 2-star some more of these units. I even have Nautilus, who's going to go in at level 5, so he can pick up Night Buff. And then I want to grab Nautilus's for making Iron Core with a Rel later on down the road. So pretty standard stuff, nothing too crazy, but based on what I saw here, this is 100% the board I needed to play. And I figured that this would go infinitely better than trying to cram these particular units into a Dawnbringer's framework, which just did not look like it was going to work at all. All right, so here we go. We got our chance here. And I'm honestly a little bit sad that I've got the glove here. If I were playing a spellcasting comp, then I'd have my needlessly large rod plus glove here for Jeweled Gauntlet. So I could have like Jeweled Gauntlet and then half of either a blue buff or half of a Shojin for Karma. But it is what it is. I'll find something to do with this Tear of the Goddess down the road. I'm sure I can get something. It can be half of a Hand of Justice, if nothing else. Probably the best use I can make of this Tear. I wouldn't have picked up... did I pick up a Tear on the initial carousel? I think that was the item I grabbed. I wouldn't have gone for Tear if I knew that was the team comp. This was the team comp I was going to be playing into. By the way, still not a single Dawnbringer unit has shown up in the shop. So I mean, I had already made my decision by this point, but I was like, yeah, not a Dawnbringer's game here. Not gonna happen. So we're gonna be playing Redeemed and Rangers, as I said. This is the tail end of set 5.5. As I mentioned, this game was played on the very last day of the set, and I hadn't played this set at all. So I was just trying to, basically, I was trying to play these games as though set 5.5 didn't exist. So you're going to notice, basically, I don't play any units that are from set 5.5. I pretty much just play nothing but set 5 units. And I did that in the other game that I posted from the last day of set 5.5, where I played a Karma comp. Like, I literally just played all units that were from set 5 because I wasn't very familiar with any of the new units. Like, I wasn't very familiar with this. I mean, I played a little bit of set 5.5, but not a ton. I wasn't super familiar with like the Sentinel units or the Cannoneer units. And the good news is there weren't really a lot of changes made in set 5.5. I've written about this, I've talked about it in other videos. It's a very lazy set from Riot because they clearly just decided, well, set 5 sucks. This set did not work. The shadow items were not a mechanic that worked very well. So instead of working on set 5.5, we're just going to say, screw this set. We're going to work on set 6 instead. And set 6 is a much better designed set overall. The central mechanic, the Hextech augments, are a significantly more interesting mechanic. And the traits are better designed, and a lot of the units are better designed too. It's just a lot more. You can just see that more development time went into producing it, as opposed to set 5, which was kind of a rush job that didn't really come together. I've talked about this in some of the stuff I've written, but in some of the interviews that they did for Set 5, it became clear that the shadow items were not the original mechanic. By the way, 3 spatulas on this carousel, which is kind of bad for me because this comp is not really a comp that plays into a spatula item. And in fact, I don't even really want a spatula here. It's just when this many spatulas pop up on the carousel, somebody's going to get a force of nature and they're going to get the extra unit, and that's always a little bit scary. But I want the bow because I need Rage Blade for Varus. It's the only way I can make good use of that rod. So I got to make the Rage Blade, and that means other people are going to get spatulas, and that could be dangerous. All right. So anyway, to the point I was saying before, they mentioned in some of the interviews, if you really kind of looked between the lines, it was clear that the shadow items were not the mechanic that was planned originally for set 5. It's unclear what the original one was. I think from reading between the lines, they had said something like they were going to do like a day-night cycle that was going to be something about like it would be daytime some of the time and there'd be nighttime some of the time, something along those lines. That could be wrong, but that was what it sounded like they said in the interviews. And you can see kind of how like the theme that they ended up with, which was this good versus evil, would kind of play into like a day versus night kind of setup. But they couldn't make it work. They ran out of time, and they went with these shadow items instead, which they've admitted were not the planned mechanic for the set. And it just was kind of a half-baked idea that they threw together because they were running out of time to get the set ready, and it definitely felt like that. I didn't hate the shadow items. I actually thought they made for some interesting trade-offs, but they weren't good for newcomer players. Just too much stuff to keep track of, and building items is just not that much fun. I've compared this to set 4, which had the chosen mechanic, and it was like, oh man, I just hit that. I hit a chosen. It's like this unit that's super strong. It like makes you feel really good. Or in set 6, it's like, oh, I got this augment, and like now I get to re-roll the shot for free every round. Or now I get like 2 extra units. Like I'm playing assassins. Oh, I got the augment that gives me 2 extra ranks of assassin for free. Like that's a really good feeling, and it makes for interesting and memorable games. But set 5, it's like what? Oh, I get to make a shadow version of a Sunfire Cape. Woo! Yay! I got a shadow Rage Blade. Yay! It's just not that interesting. It's one of those things where I think the mechanic just didn't really work. I actually think it worked better for expert players than newcomer players, but there really was not that wow factor there. And then set 5.5, they're just like, whatever, let's do this Radiant thing because we don't really care at this point. Just what can we do that's cheap and easy? And they came up with Radiant items. One of the things you're going to see in this game is why I think the Radiant items are just kind of a bad mechanic, and these endless armories are just kind of a really stupid mechanic. You're going to see just how many items I get from the armories over the course of this game. They're just armories nonstop, and I realized that this was like in the final patch of 5.5. This was the for fun patch, which wasn't really intended to be balanced, but you're going to see just stuff gets thrown at you constantly. And the reason why that's bad is it devalues the process of building your items through the game. Teamfight Tactics is more interesting when you're taking components and you're seeing, like right now, I have a tier on my bench. So I have to be thinking, all right, what can I build out of this tier that's going to be interesting for my team comp? Like, I have to think, like, what items am I targeting? And I've already said Hand of Justice is probably the best I could do. Maybe I could use a belt to get like Redemption, which is not terrible, but it's obviously not as good. By the way, now I'm up to 6 Leonas, which is like, what? And I get another Varus as well, so that's good. I'm getting closer to 2-star Varus. But like, I need to be thinking, what can I do with these items? Like, what do I do with the now I've got another rod. What do I do with the rod? It's not good for this comp I'm playing. How can I make use of this item? Like, what are the items I can build this into that are going to be useful for my comp? And like, that's where the planning and the strategizing comes in. It's one of the key things. What items are you going to combine together? And that's why I think the shadow items were kind of good in that regard. And then it just gets taken out of the game with the radiant items, because you just get handed from a list and you just pick from a list. I mean, obviously, yes, there's planning there. I'm not saying there's no strategy to the decision, but it's just kind of a lower form of strategy. By the way, Ash just sniped the Kennen there as he tried to run in the back line. Pretty good stuff. But there's just a lot less decision making. You're just reacting to an external stimulus instead of having an internal stimulus, which is a decision you're making. You're reacting to something that's happening to you as opposed to making a decision yourself and planning and strategizing ahead of time. The other thing that it does is it really devalues the carousels. Now that we're back to set 6 and I'm playing set 6, if you're the last to pick, it's a big disadvantage. Like, as we, by the way, I get another Leona here. I'm already up to 7 Leonas. Um, but like, it's a genuinely big disadvantage to be the last one to pick, because you can't just rely on stuff popping out of an armory to save your butt anymore. And I really think that's the way the game is supposed to play. Like, it's the big catch-up mechanic is being first to pick off the carousel. But in set 5, and particularly in set 5.5, you're pick like that you get so many items that don't even come from the carousels. Like, it doesn't even really matter whether you're first or last to pick. I mean, it does a little, but it's so devalued compared to the way that the game was traditionally played. I just think that the gameplay is healthier when people are building their own items. When picking last on the carousel really does matter, because you're probably not going to get what you want, and then you've got to plan around that. And that's interesting too, because you're having to work with suboptimal items. So I mean, I don't hate the armories. I just think that the armories are not as interesting as a lot of the other mechanics. And picking stuff from a list just isn't really that interesting, honestly. There's not a lot of planning or foresight that goes into it. I was sure that I was going to lose this round because Vel'Koz was pointed directly at Varus. You see, as I sell a vein for 1 gold to get to 30. I was confident I was going to lose this round, but for whatever reason, the Vel'Koz did not quite have enough damage to kill off Varus. And then Vel'Koz kind of trolled his second beam by not shooting at my Varus. I also highlight the Vayne because I could have had Vayne 2-star. But honestly, Ashe 1-star might be better than Vayne 2-star in this comp. I think I'll pick up the extra Vayne just in case, but honestly, it's not necessarily even better. I've also just thrown in kind of a random Riven into this comp just because that'll make Legionnaire with Aatrox. I'm hesitant to take Aatrox out of the team composition because he does provide a little frontline, and basically what I'm lacking in this team comp right now is frontline. I have the Leona who I'm solo frontlining because she has the Gargoyle Stoneplate, which is better when more people attack her, and she also can pick up some of the redeemed redeemed armor and MR benefits. But I am kind of lacking in frontline, and that's one of the reasons why I have the Aatrox in there, because he can frontline to a certain extent, and he gets very tanky too as the fight goes on because he picks up the redeem bonus as the other redeemed units die. This fight was sad because the Kha'Zix was pointed right at Varus, and if I had scouted better, if I had known this was the comp I was going to be up against, all I had to do is move Varus over to the right-hand side, and this is a very easy win for my team. But because Varus dies instantly, Varus is most of my damage, and then at this point I was like, oh, am I actually going to win this fight anyway? Because Aatrox does get off another heal, but no, he can't quite get to Ziggs, can't get through that Gragas with the Warmogs. So it's a loss and it ends the win streak, which is kind of sad. But I got a nice win streak there, and that really helped my economy recover a bit. I also had some nice hits there. I think I managed to 2-star most of my board without having to roll there, which is always a great sign. I was expecting I'd have to roll a bit on level 6, and I don't think I had to do that, if I'm remembering correctly. So I'm feeling reasonably good in this game. And now I'm just waiting, and of course I want to get the sword because I'm playing an AD-based comp, and no one has taken the sword, so I fake that I'm going for the Galio, and the other person takes Galio, presumably because they either wanted Galio or wanted the bow, and I get the sword, which is great. I still can't believe a Jax with a sword was not taken by anyone. It's like, no one's playing skirmishers? No one wants a Jax with a sword? It's like, okay. And then here, I actually just run out of room on my bench, so I roll a little bit here just because I'm trying to free up space on my bench for various different stuff. And I hit very little here. I hit the Vayne 2-star, and I opt to play that. I don't know if that's the right decision. Might just be better to play the Ashe 1-star and then just drop the Vayne to free up board space. Probably should have just sold the 2 Vaynes and picked up the Riven, because when I started rolling, I didn't pick up the Riven for lack of board space, and that wasn't the greatest. I think it would have been handy just to pick up the Riven in case I 2-star it, because it would turn out that I ended up playing Riven quite a bit in this comp, more than I was expecting to. Anyway, so we're on the tail end of stage 5 here. We're going to get the Radiant Armory on the next round, or the first Radiant Armory, I should say. There's now 2 here in these 4 fun matches at the end of set 5.5. I'm up against the Hellions comp and actually win that one pretty easily. So still in great shape, still have lots of health. Econ could be a little bit better, but it's certainly not bad. And the big thing is I was able to get 2-star Varus. That's the main thing I need to hit. Need to hit 2-star Varus. And from here, I'm going to look to play into more Mystic, play into some Mystic, into some Ironclad. All right, so I get my option here, and I'm going to take the Radiant Thief's Glove. The Radiant Hand of Justice is also tempting, but I already have the tier on my bench, so if I can get a glove, I can already make Hand of Justice. But the Radiant Thief Glove is great. I mean, this is widely seen as one of the very best of the Radiant items. And I'm actually going to toss it on Riven, because I think she can make pretty good use of most of the items. I think she's like a very flexible unit that can use a lot of this stuff. She can use tank items pretty well because she has to melee and get up in the front line. She can use AD items pretty well. The only thing she can't really use is AP. Like if she gets Death Cap, that's not going to be very good. But pretty much anything else she can make reasonably good use of. And this gives me a secondary damage source, so I'm not entirely dependent on the Varus for damage in this team comp. So now Riven can be like a little mini secondary carry. And that feels pretty good. Varus is going to work pretty well. Now that he's got the Rage Blade and he's also got a BF Sword for a little bit of extra damage. I'd love to turn that into like Infinity Edge. I'd love to turn that into Death Blade. Bloodthirster would be good. Most items that build out of the sword are going to be pretty good here. And yeah, like I said, I'm mostly just planning on having him carry these items and put them on Aphelios later, or Action if I hit that. And we'll just, upgrade to better Rangers as the game goes on and hope to build a tanky enough front line. I have 8 Leonas, so I'm thinking that Leona's probably not going to come out of this comp because I only need one more. By the way, there's Karma, but not playing her this game. So this is a little bit unusual in the sense that I've hit all these Leonas and I have not re-rolled at all for Leona. I've just naturaled my way into 8 Leonas while also pushing levels. So if I can just find the one more Leona, she can probably frontline for me pretty well, even as a 1-cost unit if I have her 3-starred and if I have a bunch of tank items on her and she's getting the redeemed bonuses. So I go 7 here. I toss in Lux. Obviously, Lux does not make any additional traits, but still pretty good. And hey, that's a Death Blade. So we'll take that. That's a good item. And now I really want to get to level 8 and roll on 8. So for the time being, I'm going to look to just hold here. My board is mostly to... Oh, never mind. I did roll once, but then I immediately hit Lux. Now, I remembered that I didn't roll a bunch here. I rolled one time and hit Lux, and I was like, all right, let's stop here. So everything is 2-starred except the Riven and except the... What's the other unit? The Nautilus. And this is where passing on the Riven earlier was a bit of a mistake because I maybe could have had 2-starred Riven here, and I think that would have been pretty good with that Radiant version of the Thief's Glove. So, like, right for this round, she's rolled what? Ionic Spark, and she's rolled the Banshee's Claw, or whatever it is, that gives everybody a spell shield. We actually have this on both sides of the field right now, so need my units to pop those Banshee's veils, or whatever they're called, on the other team. It's like, go Varus, shoot your little hail of arrows, pop that protection on the other team. But it looks like we've got this one as well. So, also a good sign. And hey, we're back on a modest win streak again. All right, so here's another armory. So gonna get to pick another item, right? Yeah, I mean, forget getting it off a carousel. Just get what we want. And there's a Brawler's Glove here, so that makes perfect sense. And I'll look to turn this into a Hand of Justice. So I've got the Rage Blade, and I've got the Death Blade, and now I've got Hand of Justice as well. And these are pretty good items, so I'm quite happy with this. Got the Rage Blade for attack speed. Hand of Justice will provide that healing and additional damage. And then, hey, Deathblade will just get stacked up as Varus gets kills. Even a Varus, even though he's a 2-cost unit, he can carry pretty hard with these items, at least throughout Stage 4. He'll fall off when we hit Stage 5 because he doesn't have, like, a Last Whisper for Armor Shred, and it's going to be tough for him to get through tanks. Like, he doesn't have a Last Whisper, he doesn't have a Giant Slayer, so tanky unit's going to be tough to get through, but anything squishy, he's going to kill pretty easily, and he does a good job of stacking up this Deathblade. In a lot of these fights, he's ending the fights with like 100 AD at the end because his Deathblade is like 4 or 5 stacks. So not too shabby. And the other thing I needed, so I really, once again, this is a front-to-back team comp. I mentioned this in some of my other videos. I like playing front-to-back team comps. I'm not good with Assassins. I'm not good with reroll comps. These are the comps that make the most sense intuitively for me. So yeah, like look, he's got 80 stack, or what is it? It's got 4 stacks for 80 damage. I can't remember how much you get per stack. I think it's plus 10 per stack or something like that. But I mean, he ends the fight with like 90 AD. That's a lot of AD from that item. And I don't know what he rolled in that fight from his Hodge, whether it was the extra damage or the extra healing. So I'll pick up the extra Varus here. That's so I can sell and replace if I want to go 4 Rangers. But otherwise, I'm kind of just cruising here. I'm on 92 HP on stage 4-3. It's like, what? I've lost 2 rounds the entire game, and neither of them were bad losses. They're all both close losses. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I wish I had picked up the ribbons I had seen. I actually left 2 of them, like deliberately did not buy 2 of them because my thinking had been, oh, you know what? I'm not going to play Ribbon for very long. She's just going to be in this comp for like 2 rounds. But no, she's been in here for quite a while now. Really should have picked up the extra ribbons. It wouldn't have cost much money to do that. And she's been pretty good. If you've been looking at the damage in these fights, she's been like second most damage in a bunch of these fights. But real MVPs so far have been Leona. She survives for a very long time in all these fights because she's got all of the, she's got the Radiant armor and MR, and she's got the Gargoyle Stoneplate benefit. But like she tanks forever, and that just buys time for Varus to do damage. So Leona plus Varus carry. Now we just need that one more Leona for Leona 3-star. I was like, would I take a Leona off Carousel to get Leona 3-star here? Maybe, but there's no Leona on the carousel. Probably not. I was looking to see if Action was on the carousel. He is not. There is a Gwen on the carousel, which I would definitely take, but Gwen's snapped up, not surprisingly. And so at this point, I'm just looking for what's here. What is it? I have a rod on my bench, so I'm looking to what can I make here with this rod? And out of the options here, the only thing I can think of would be to make Ionic Spark with this. So that's what I'm going to do. I think I end up building with the. I'm going to hold to see if I get anything out of the minion round, but I'm going to make this so that I can always fall back on Ionic Spark. It's not great because it zaps the enemy team and removes some of their magic resistance. My damage is almost entirely physical. I don't do a lot of magic damage, but it's okay. It's not bad. Could be worse. And it's not like I can do a lot of other stuff. Of course, I do have a Reforger. Obviously, I could always try to reforge this into something else, but I thought Ionic Spark was decent enough that I wouldn't have to try to reforge it. Still, maybe I should have looked to, in retrospect, maybe I should have tried to reforge the rod into something else. Like maybe if I get, maybe it could be another Gargoyle Stoneplate if I get a vest. Maybe it could be even better, a Dragon's Claw if I could get another cloak. That would actually be really good if I could get that, but I was worried that I would get something totally useless if I tried to reforge it, and I thought Ionic Spark was at least okay. So we're up against this Vel'Koz player again, but they're still on Vel'Koz 1-star, and that's not that scary, given that my board has gotten immensely stronger since the last time we saw this comp. So yeah, like I said, we're just kind of cruising here, and there it is. There's the Leona 3-star. Boom! Show me that gold armor, Leona. So yeah, if she was tanky before, now she's going to be significantly more tankier. Now she gets all the extra stats for being a 3-star. Her ability is going to block more damage. I've got Knights in for damage reduction. She's got the redemption, the redeemed bonus, extra armor and magic resist, and gets bonus as other people in the fight die. So she should be able to last pretty much forever in these fights. If I lose the fights, it's probably because my backline is getting jumped on and popped, not because Leona has crumpled. So yeah, and then like in this fight, I've managed to dodge the Zyra. She's going to cast at the Lux in the Vein first, so that's good news. I really would like to win this round so that I can keep the win streak going, get up to a 7-round winning streak, and keep it going into the minion round. By the way, the Static Shiv extra electricity doing a lot of work from Ribbon in this fight. I get different stuff out of that Radiant Thief's Glove every time, and I'm often caught by surprise by what comes out. But yeah, they actually did quite a bit of work in that fight, and Riven's been great. I really wish I'd picked up more Rivens and 2-starred her, because I intended her to play her for like 2 rounds, and she's been in the comp for like 8, and just been like my secondary carry after having Varus. All right, so here I hit level 8, and it's going to be time to roll down. After this, I think I grabbed the Lulu and just tossed her in for Mystic. But it's right around this time when I was getting ready to roll down, I was like, wait a minute. I could play Action. I could play Aphelios if I hit them. But look at my items. I've got Rageblade, plus I've got Hand of Justice, and Deathblade. These are pretty good items for Kale. What if I hit Kale on my roll down? That would be pretty good. I've already got 4 redeemed. What if I just play 6 redeemed Kale? Now, I can't play like the perfect Kale comp, which is to get a bunch of Knights in here. By the way, I look at these items, I was like, I think I just take the Stone Plate, because it regenerate 3% of max health per round. I was like, why don't I just put the Stone Plate, put it on Leona, and then she'll regenerate 3% of her health every round. It's not like I don't really need more AD items. We'll just take this, and now we'll have like a super tank. And then I'll make the Ionic Spark. So she is going to solo frontline. Again, I want people to group up on Leona. I want her solo frontlining. And yeah, we'll go from there. But still, and there's a rel. Did I miss this rel? No, I picked it up. So I'm gonna put in rel. That'll get me ironclad. And I still need to finish rolling down here. I'm not going to sell the Aatrox. I'll hold the Aphelios. And there is an Aatrox, not a I always get these two confused. So I'm going to hold the Aatrox. I'm going to hold the Aphelios. I'm going to be looking to put in the Aphelios, but it will depend on what I find. I think I decided by this point, I was like, if I find Kale, I think I'm going to play Kale instead, just because I think it'll be more fun to try. I'm in great economic shape. If it takes me a few rounds to transition, I think I can survive that. By the way, look at Leona. She just does not die at all. Double stone plate plus the spark. And she's a 3-star unit, and she's got the redeemed bonuses. Like, Trist is just sitting there. This is a 3-star Trist, just firing at her the entire match, and just does not die. Plus, the Deathblade gets up to 160 from killing all the Hellions as they pop out of the portals. So that's pretty hilarious. Oh, by the way, look, it's another item. Woo! Another item. Yay! Hooray! So remember what I said about how stupid it is that these armories just keep giving you more stuff? You get so many items in set 5.5. It's just dumb. I mean, some people are free to disagree. I am not the only one who can have an opinion on this. But, it's just silly. Anyway, we'll get back to it. So I hit another Aphelios. I was like, oh, come on, give me one more Aphelios for Aphelios 2-star. That would be great. And I have to put this Giant Slayer on someone. I don't just want this sitting on my bench. So I can't remember if I keep rolling here or if I pause at 40 gold for another round. I still haven't really hit anything too critical. I haven't hit action. I'm still waiting to see if I can hit 2-star Aphelios. I probably should just put Aphelios in over Vayne, though. I have to think even a 1-star Aphelios is going to be better than 2-star Vayne at this point in the game because Vayne doesn't activate any traits. But I'm still waiting to see. I would still play... if I can hit if I can hit an action and hit another Aphelios, I'm just going to play the two of them instead, and we'll move out of this redemption setup. Although I'll probably still keep Leona in the comp because Leona is unbelievably tanky. There's a super tank on the other team too. What unit is that underneath that? I'm trying to see what is that. I think that's an Aatrox underneath all those things that I'm not quite cutting through over on the other team. But we finally get through that unit, and then the team kind of crumples after that. That person's got a force of nature, but they're still losing anyway. So yeah, not great for them. Yeah, it was an Aatrox. It was hard for me to see because there were so many particle effects on the screen, but we still do manage to get through that and finish off that unit. All right, so there's another Varus. My bench is running out of space here, unfortunately, and I'm still rolling. And there it is. And there's the Kale. And I was like, decision time. Am I playing the Kale? Yes or no? Am I playing this Kale? Am I going to 6 redeemed and playing it? And finally, I'm really thinking this over, and I was like, all right, I said to myself, I'm going to play Kale if I hit it, so let's go ahead and do it. I don't know if this is going to work out, but we got to get these units in, so I'm going to make space for Kale on my bench. I'm going to transfer all of those items over, and then now we need to get 6 redeemed in, so that's going to be the next task. So Riven will come out. There's no need to have Riven in the comp. Vayne will obviously come out. We don't need Aphelios anymore because we're not playing Rangers, we're playing Kale. And we'll want to get up to 6 redeemed, and then we stack as much Mystic and Ironclad as we can to go with the 6 redeemed. And then we hope to find 2-star Kale. We're going to have to get to level 9 and try to find more Kales. So, Kale. What a poorly designed unit in this set. I've said this before, Kale is just a terribly designed unit. It's kind of it's an idea that sounds great in theory. You have a unit that ramps up over the course of the fight. So basically gets stronger on time, not based on anything else. It's time that causes the unit to get stronger in the fight. But you don't really want to design units like this. It's such a binary decision. You get a unit that either does nothing, at the start of the fight is super weak and just does nothing, but if the fight lasts long enough, just kills everything. There's not enough room for counterplay here. It's either Kale ramps up and kills everything, or Kale dies early and does nothing. So there's not enough in between there. By the way, there's a Kale on the carousel, and guess what? No one took that Kale. So even though I don't care about the Infinity Edge, that means I only need one more Kale for 2-star Kale. So I will happily take that as last pick. And by the way, I'm still on 92 HP. This is ridiculous. What is going on in this game? So, all right. So I still need to finish transitioning here. So what do I not need? I don't need Vayne. She's out. We'll put in the Varus once again, and then we need to put Aatrox back in because Aatrox will make Legionnaire, and he'll also get me up to 6 redeemed. And then Riven comes out. Riven was great. I'm going to put the Radiant Thieves Glove on Lux because, again, Lux is a great unit in this comp. She's going to be able to make use of a lot of the items that come out of there. Basically, anything that's AD or AP, she's going to make pretty good use of. You might say AD, oh, come on, Lux doesn't make good use of AD, but she actually does because she gets that big bonus to her auto attacks when after she casts her ability. And I don't think a lot of people necessarily know that, but that's kind of how she worked all throughout set 5 is after she casts her shield, her next auto attack deals bonus damage. So she actually makes pretty decent use of attack speed. And reroll Lux was a thing in some patches. Now, in this particular fight, we do finally see Kale get popped. If I could change one of her items, I would change the Deathblade to a Guardian Angel. That would definitely be better. By the way, she is still killing units there at the end of the fight. Manages to kill like 2 more units there. But I do end up losing that fight. And then I level, and then I pick up Fiddlesticks because he's another Mystic unit. And I was like, whoops, I should have done that in the opposite order. It cost me 1 gold because I did it in the wrong order, but whatever. Not that big of a deal. But look at how strong I am economically because I won so many rounds throughout the early and mid game. We're about to hit the end of stage 5, and I have 81 HP, and I am very close to level 9. And I'm confident that at level 9, I'm going to be able to roll down and hit 1 more Kale because I'm going to have like 50 gold to roll after hitting level 9. So the odds are very high that I'll be able to hit Kale 2-star. And then we just want to move into higher tier units. We want to find Gwen if we can, and maybe Garen. Garen might be decent in this game if we've got room for another Knight slot, although we'll have to see. So yeah, I mean, there's room to get. Oh, and I can also play another Ranger. I can play Action too if I hit Action. So a lot of legendary units we can move into. These fights are very entertaining just because it's fun to watch the entire enemy team hitting Leona and doing absolutely nothing because she is freaking unkillable in these fights. And then Kale just ramps up. So I kind of have like this really good Kale comp without me even planning for it. Again, I was planning to play Action and Aphelios depending on which one I hit, but I never hit Action. And Aphelios, I only hit 2 versions. I only hit 2. I didn't get the third Aphelios for Aphelios 2-star. By the way, that's a pretty hilarious pop-up of the what is that, the Radiant version of the Shroud of Stillness. That thing is so fat, it always just amuses me. But yeah, I end up with like this great Kale comp without even thinking about it. Oh, and look at this dragon. So again, I know that this doesn't happen every game. I know that this is like 20% odds. You get the triple items, but I get another 3 items here. I mean, it's like, what the heck? So many items just popping up in this game. How many, now think back in time. How many units have I, or not units, how many items have I actually built in this game? Not a whole lot, right? Not a whole lot of units. Anyway, we'll get back to this point in a minute because I'm rolling down here. Yeah, could have 2-star Teemo, but no, that's not going to be helpful here. Could have Heimer, he's not really going to be helpful. There's the kill and there's the action. So we're going to play action. He'll get Rangers in. Not that Rangers is that crucial for Varus. But, I mean, it's better than probably anything else I can play. There's another Fiddlesticks. There's another action. And it looks like that's all we're going to hit here. But I'll definitely play the action. And what else do I have? And so we'll just... We've already got Varus completely maxed out on items. So now we'll start itemizing action, too, as well. And then I end up selling the Fiddlesticks because I realized at this point in time, if I play another Mystic, it's going to be replacing the Lulu with Gwen. And so I don't really need to hold on to the Fiddlesticks at this point. But yeah, Kale's 2-star. She's got Rageblade. She's got Hand of Justice. And she's got 6 redeem. So yeah, good luck trying to kill this. Once she ramps up, you are dead. There's basically nothing you can do. She did 18,000 damage in that fight. Like, once she gets going, you're 100% dead, and there's nothing you can do. And she is a very, very poorly designed unit. But if you can put all the pieces together, I admit there is kind of like a guilty pleasure in playing Kale and having her ramp all the way up. So I find Gwen, I'll take out I'm going to take out the Lulu. And now that I found Gwen, I don't need to hold the extra Lulus or the Fiddlesticks. Gwen's who I want. I want her to provide that aura, the damage reduction for Kale. I don't really care if she's 1-star or 2-star. Obviously, it's better if she's 2-star, but I really just want that damage reduction aura for Kale. So I'm going to move these units around a little bit because I think I looked at this and it was better for me to be on this side. I am trying to scout my opponents. I mean, it is a ranked game, even though I don't care that much about what happens because it's the last day of the set and I'm just trying to play placement matches. But hey, if I can win these games, I'll try to win them. I feel like I almost feel like I owe it to the other players to try my best because what's the point otherwise? So, I mean, this comp looks kind of scary, but you know what? Kale's not dead, and she's ramped up, and now I think she's fully ascended right now, and that means everybody's dead. So boop, 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 and boop, 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 and you are dead. By the way, note that Lux is the other unit that survives. Lux is really strong once she gets ramped up with the redeemed bonus. Once the other redeemed units die, she is very difficult to kill. So there's another Gwen. Can we find Gwen 2-star? Can we find Action 2-star? We've got pairs on both of them. Just need 1 more of each. And there's another Rel. And oh, there's a hit. Okay, we'll just lock for that. 2-star action and 2-star Vars. But by the way, I wanted to get back to the item point. So what items did I actually build in this game? So let's see. I built all the items on Kale. I built the Rage Blade, the Death Blade, and the Hand of Justice. And I built the Stone Plate on Leona, and I built the Ionic Spark. So that's 5. I built 5 actual items. What items have I not built but have gotten anyway? Well, let's see. I've got all 3 items on Varus. I've got both of Action's items. That's 5. I've got Lux's Radiant Thief's Glove. That's 6. So we're already at a point where I actually built 5 items, and then I got 7 more items that just came, or was it 6 or 7? By the way, it looks like Kale's dead, but nope. That's just Kale. She's going to kill everything, and you're dead. It's like, oh, except that Teemo was the last unit alive. So I get Teemo'd. Boop. And yeah, I don't win that round, but I think I can live with that. Somehow Kale managed to survive, even though she was at like 10% HP, and then killed everything and just got Teemo'd. But anyway, so what do we have? Another round here. I would have happily taken that Zephyr, but it was already gone. So now I just have to pick something else. And I go ahead and pick the Death Blade because I'm itemizing the action right here. And I know I'm about to hit action 2-star. So yeah, Varus has Giant Slayer Rage Blade Static Shiv. Action has Giant Slayer Infinity Edge Death Blade. And like I didn't plan for any of these items. They were all handed to me. That is 6 items that I didn't plan for and just basically appeared in my store or appeared on the dragon at the end of a minion round. It's just really silly. I mean, the game is more interesting when you're building your own items. Again, you're welcome to disagree, but sue me. The game's more fun when you build your own items. It's boring to just have stuff pop up and you not do anything. But anyway, so I'm trying to shift over here. Again, I want Kale to be next to Gwen. That's all I really care about. But I was shifting to try and be positioned away from the 3-star Zyra. This is a very strong comp over here, by the way. That Zyra is pretty terrifying, but Leona is basically unkillable, and all she has to do is stall to provide time for Kale. We've got 6 Redeemed, 2 Mystic, 2 Ironclad, 2 Knight, so it is very difficult for Leona ever to die, and Kale does her thing, and that person's going to get eliminated. And someone's got to win this match, so it's just going to be one more round after this one. Me against whoever wins this. And it looks like it is, I think the Teemo player is the only one that's left alive. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that. And I'm just trying to find Gwen and Rel. Don't manage to find them. But it looks like this is the last player still in the lobby. And all I have to do is not get Teemo'd. There is a 3-star Nunu over there. I mean, it's not like these comps are terrible that I'm up against. It's just I've outscaled these to like a really crazy degree. I noticed that Lux rolled a Zephyr on her Thief's Glove, so I'm trying to position to hit that Vel'Koz, who I perceive as being the strongest unit in that comp. But I actually end up missing, and I hit the Teemo instead, which is not terrible, but it actually can sometimes be bad to have Teemo be the one you're Zephyring out because that means it's more likely Teemo's going to get his passive off where he automatically wins any 1v1 fights. But, I mean, yeah, Kale is still alive, and was it Action swinging around shooting people? Varus is still alive. Leona actually did die in that fight, which is a little bit scary. But, yeah, Action does the most damage, and that's it. That's GG. That's the end of this one. So, yeah, it's a first. This was literally the first game I played trying to do these placement matches, get them out of the way, and it's a first, and I get, 150 LP. But yeah, I was able to make platinum in the 5 games, and I was really happy with that. So there you go. Kale, broken unit, very poorly designed unit. All right, well, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. It was an entertaining game. I just wanted to record it before I deleted it. So thanks for finding your way here. And hey, best of luck going forward in Teamfight Tactics. Till then, take care, guys. See you soon.